I didn't see you there. I was just playing with my choo-choo train here. I'm David Schmidt, and I'm going to be telling you about this building, one of the most haunted buildings on this haunted college campus. Join me in a second. I got to finish. Choo-choo-choo, cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. Choo-choo-choo, cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. This is a building where strange things happen. People who come in here at night, security guards, teachers who are working late, they say that sometimes doors will unlock and lock by themselves. Sometimes windows open on their own. Some people say that they see things moving in the shadows. They say that they hear things, strange ethereal music playing in the darkness. There are plenty of stories that people tell about this building. The elevator is said to turn itself on to move up and down on its own. Now, why do they tell that sort of story about this sort of building in particular? Well, it all goes back to the person who built this building, the person who had it built for her as her own personal residence. And her name, believe it or not, was Madam Tingley. Madam Tingley, Catherine Tingley, she was the leader of the Theosophists. Now, the Theosophists were the group that originally built this whole college campus before it was a college campus. They had a colony here, they all lived here, grew their own food. They believed in looking for the secret, ancient mysteries of spiritual traditions all over the world. And according to some of the stories that people tell about Madam Tingley and about this house, they say she was into some very dark stuff. According to some of the stories, Madam Tingley in this house would hold seances. They say she believed in contacting the spirits of the dead. She would try to get in touch with the world on the other side of the veil. She would sit around her table with her followers, and they would have a seance and light candles and try to contact these spirits. Now, some people say that according to the stories, Madam Tingley wanted to haunt her house after she died. They say she even had the staircase custom built with especially small steps in it because she wanted to be able to walk up and down the staircase after she came back from the dead as an animal. Now, are these stories true? I don't know. You be the judge. Now, people tell a lot of stories about this building. Some people have first-hand accounts about seeing and hearing strange things inside this building. But the story that I want to tell you is the story of the screaming. They say it happened many years ago. Back in the 1970s, there was a security guard, and it was his job, like every security guard here on campus, to come and make sure every building is securely locked up at night. So this security guard, he's working all alone one night. It's late at night, he's the only one walking around campus, it's dark. And this particular night, he comes up and he comes to this door, the door of this particular haunted building, Madam Tingley's old house, and he walks up to the door to make sure the door is locked. So he comes up and he pulls out his ring of keys that he has, and he walks up to the door and he checks it. Now, normally, it should do that like it's doing right now. It should be locked, but this particular night, he pushes down and it's open. Now, what this means is that this security guard is going to have to go inside and make sure everything's all right. So he opens the door and he walks in this small hallway, and then he sees those tiny steps on the tiny staircase, those steps that Madam Tingley had built especially for herself when she was going to come back as a ghost in the afterlife. He walks up those steps. He walks up to the second floor. And on the second floor, he's checking every room, making sure there's no intruders, nobody's messing around. He doesn't see anyone. He doesn't hear anyone. And then when he's in the room facing the street on the top floor, he stops because all of a sudden he hears something. He hears a woman's voice screaming, and it's coming from underneath his feet. Now, this security guard, he's worried when he hears this screaming. He's thinking somebody needs help. Somebody's in here, they're trapped, they're hurt. Why would somebody be screaming out? So he shouts out to her. He says, "Hello, can I help you? Who's there?" And so then he runs down those tiny steps of Madam Tingley's staircase, and he runs down to the first floor. And as soon as he gets down there, nobody's there. He checks every single room of that first floor, and nobody is in there at all. It's quiet as a graveyard, totally silent. Now, he's baffled. He doesn't know what's going on. He's standing in that room directly underneath the room where he was when he heard the screaming. And he's standing there and he's got his flashlight. He's turning it all around, shining the beam on these dark rooms. And then he hears the voice again. It's this same woman's voice screaming, and it's still coming from underneath his feet. Now, he's wondering, how can this be possible? But then he remembers that there's a basement underneath this building. He's going to have to go out the front doors, walk around the side, and go down the stone steps to the basement and help whoever's down there screaming. So this security guard, he's walking down these steps to the basement of Madame Tingley's house, and he's thinking that somebody's in trouble. So he walks down these steps, and then he gets to the door, pulls out his keys again. He finds the key that goes to the old door. Back then it was one of those old-fashioned skeleton keys. So he puts it in the door and he opens it up. Nobody's been down there in years. So he's got to nudge the door open with his shoulder. He goes into the basement. Back then they just used it for storage. So he pulls out his flashlight and he's shining it around. And it's shadows, just tools, everything's dusty, covered with cobwebs. But he doesn't hear anything. He doesn't hear that screaming. So he calls out once more, "Is somebody in there? Hello?" And he walks in and he's checking every nook and cranny of that basement, checks all around everywhere, doesn't see anybody. When he's standing right in the middle of the basement floor, he hears it again. He's standing in the middle of the basement floor, and he hears that same woman's voice screaming, and it's still coming from underneath his feet. Now, he's in the basement at this point. He knows that there's nothing else under the basement. So the only thing he thinks to do when he hears that is run. Now, this security guard, he's terrified. So he runs up these steps. He just wants to get away from this place. He runs all the way across campus, runs over to the public safety office, and he tells people what he just heard in this old building that used to belong to Madame Tingley. Now, he tells them nobody believes him. Everyone laughs at him. They call him a chicken. They call him a coward. They say he's superstitious. They say he's being ridiculous. They say, "Why are you afraid of Madame Tingley's ghost? There's nothing to be afraid of in there. There's nothing there. You didn't hear anything." Now, he was the laughingstock, and nobody believed him until a couple years later. Because a couple years later is when they moved the entire building across campus. See, the building didn't used to be located right here. It used to be located across the street. Now, according to the story, when they dismantled this building, they took it apart all the way down to the floorboards of the basement. When they pulled those floorboards up, they found something. Right in the middle of the basement, right on the spot where that security guard was standing, when he heard that screaming, they found a human skull, lying in the ground with its mouth open, screaming silent screams for all eternity. Now, that's the story people tell. But did it ever happen? Is it true? Well, to find that out, you're going to have to read the book. The book is Holy Ghosts, True Tales from a Haunted Christian College. In that book, you're going to read this story and many other ghost stories from this haunted college and from all over the world. And we're going to look at that interesting question, are ghosts real? And what is a ghost anyway? Why is a place haunted, and why do people tell these stories about ghosts? Feel free to read the book. My name is David Schmidt, signing off. Now, if you don't mind, I need to get back to playing with my choo-choo train.